holiday cash. Here's where to get it. MyBookie.ag is the place to score serious cash on your sports predictions. There are a lot of football, basketball, and hockey games. You can score big every day. Man up, play like the pros. The money line, side, or total. MyBookie.ag is your hookup for all your betting with all the lines and super fast payouts. Join now and MyBookie.ag will match your deposit with up to a 50% bonus. Use promo code CHAMPION to activate the order. Don't leave the money on the table. MyBookie.ag, promo code CHAMPION, and your first deposit is matched to up to 50%. Play where the pros play because they get paid. MyBookie.ag.
This is the best of the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugatz podcast.
Guillermo, put it on the poll, please. Is Mina Kimes cursing quarterbacks? Yes or no? Aaron Rodgers gone.
No.
Tyrod Taylor benched. She did big stories on both of them immediately after those stories came out. Aaron Rodgers, broken collarbone, worst injury of his career. Dan. Tyrod Taylor benched.
Dan, don't do this to
for
me.
Nathan Peterman.
Oh.
That hurts more than the broken collarbone.
And we were talking during the break about the only thing that can be talked about regarding this story. What is a better quarterback name, Tyrod Taylor or Nathan Peterman? Sight unseen. You can't go Nathan over Tyrod, can you?
No.
You could go Gunnar Kiel over Tyrod. You could go Colt McCoy over Tyrod. You cannot go Nathan over Tyrod.
In the TT, we got the alliteration. Like that guy. That guy's a player. Tyrod Taylor.
He's got a nickname, T-Mobile,
T-Mobile, yep, that's almost a fun. You saved yourself. Good job.
You saved yourself with the almost.
Almost, yes. But make me like a rogue scout who is roaming the earth for a quarterback, right? And I call you, and you're a head coach, okay? And I'm like, hey, I'm out on a high school field in Oklahoma.
Why are you a rogue scout?
I don't know.
I like this new industry.
Hold on.
You're an unemployed scout.
So wait a minute.
I'm trying to get my foot in the game.
Okay, but wait a minute. I don't understand. Like, you've made him a dark espionage scout roaming Oklahoma for a quarterback. He doesn't work for anybody. He's just a rogue scout.
He's a rogue scout who's trying to get in the game.
All right,
and
so
to do so, he has to impress some coaches with his ability to tell you who's a good quarterback.
All right, so he's Jason Bourne of the scouting community, basically.
Yes.
Only jobless.
Yeah.
Totally unemployed,
right.
And in Oklahoma, and nobody's trying to kill him, just everyone's ignoring him.
Right. Now, what's your reaction if I call you from a field in Oklahoma somewhere, and you're a coach, and you haven't seen this kid play, and I'm saying, hey, listen, coach, I'm on this field in Oklahoma. You got to see this kid, Tyrod Taylor, play football. Because for me, I'm getting out there that day to watch him. But if he calls me and says, hey, I got this guy, Nathan Peterman, out on this field in Oklahoma, I'm laughing at him, and I hang up the phone. I'm serious.
I got you. I mean, how about Baker Mayfield?
I'm there.
If you're called, yes,
Baker
Mayfield. Are you sure you're not taking his style and the way that he plays and he plants flags at midfield? Are you Baker? The name itself is getting you to go and scout him? Rogue scout Jason Bourne?
This rogue scout does not give you anything other than his name. He is basing his entire analysis on the name.
Wow,
yes.
So it's really not a rogue scout at all. It's you pretending to work, not doing any of the work, doing scouting in the laziest way possible to explain why you're rogue and unemployed.
I mean, I might say something like, listen, Oklahoma field, Tyrod Taylor, cannon, and that's it. I might throw in a cannon, and that's about it.
And you hang up.
I hang up, yeah.
There's something to this. This is probably why Russell Wilson fell.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson's not doing anything for anybody. Domonique and I were joking about the idea of Alex Smith is exactly by name who he is as a quarterback.
Perfect.
Alex Smith might be okay, might be bad. Some games, not gonna. It's just Alex Smith.
You send an assistant out to see Alex Smith.
Oh, you're not sending any.
You don't
big
waste your
guns?
own time. No, Colt McCoy though.
Colt McCoy, you got to get out there. Gunnar Kiel for sure.
Who's this Andy Dalton? No, not worth my time. Pass. Hard pass.
I mean, Andy Dalton, he could be a preferred walk-on, but I'm not sending a Scully out for some kid named Andy Dalton.
How about Tom Savage?
Oh,
I'm
scholarships.
there. I am there.
2 scholarships.
Tom Savage.
He doesn't need 2 scholarships.
Well, he can have double the books
and a suitcase of cash.
double the meal money.
Yep.
Oh, 2 rooms. Tom Savage?
You're going to make Tom Savage fat. You're going to double the meal.
Well, he needs it because he is
Savage.
What about Marcus Mariota? I think a hack to this whole game is having the same initial for your first and last name.
No, I don't think Marcus Mariota works. Does it? Marcus?
But it's Marcus, and when you pair it with a last name that also starts with the letter M.
The alliteration does, when it rolls off the tongue, it makes it feel a little bit better. But, I mean, Marcus Mariota is not gun or kill, and there's no alliteration there.
Well, who is the alliteration that fails, according to this test? Who is the quarterback with the first and last name, and just because it's alliteration? I'm not with you guys on Marcus Mariota. I'm passing. If I get Rogue Scout
I'm
calls
kind
me.
of bored there, yeah. Yeah, I got this kid Marcus Mariota. Kind of bored there.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
I got a Joe Flacco.
Now, if I call you with Phillip Rivers.
Whoa! Wait!
How about Jameis?
Absolutely.
I got a Jameis Winston.
Yeah, I'm there.
Cam Newton? I got
Yes.
a Cam Newton?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, I'm there.
Aren't too many Cams. I'll take a look.
Do you go for Brock Osweiler?
Cool first name.
Yeah, great
Maybe-
first name.
Yeah, the last name hurts him. It really destroys Roethlisberger, too.
Yeah.
Like Ben Roethlisberger,
Yeah.
nobody's sending any scouts out to see Roethlisberger. That guy can't play.
Yeah, I mean, unless he's playing tackle. Like, Roethlisberger is a...
That's right.
That's a kick sliding name. Like,
He's a lead guard. He's a pull. You got to see this big fat guy here I found near the haystacks, Ben Roethlisberger.
Like, we could run power for days behind this Roethlisberger kid.
This is why Tom Brady was taken in the 6th round.
Yeah, yeah.
This is why Spurgeon Wynn was taken ahead of Tom Brady.
And it's why Blake Bortles was taken so high. Because I'm sprinting to Blake Bortles.
You are?
Oh, absolutely.
That's that alliteration again.
Yeah.
How about Josh McCown? A little undercurrent of mystery. McCown feels like he was doing some work in the outdoors. McCown we found him in the shrub.
I like the building the story around it, too.
But I
Josh McCown.
But I have the history of Cade McNown, and that was a great name and didn't work out. So too close. So I'm burned by the names already.
All right, so Nathan Peterman is now the Bills' starting quarterback, and the important parts of this that we're not discussing are that, a couple of teams could have used Tyrod Taylor a couple of games ago.
Yep.
There are a couple of teams out there. The bench Tyrod Taylor would save a season right now for Green Bay, for Houston, for Jacksonville season's okay, but give Blake Bortles time.
Right. They'd be better, obviously, with Tyrod Taylor.
How many teams are looking at them angrily right now? Like, you have this quarterback and you treat him like that. Like how the rest of the countries look at America. Like, you have all this money and you take it for granted. Like, most of the league is looking at Buffalo like, don't treat that guy like that.
What are you guys doing? Arizona could probably use Tyrod Taylor.
A couple of weeks ago, the Broncos probably would have traded for Tyrod Taylor.
The Broncos would have been perfect for Tyrod Taylor. And so now he's benched, and what do the Bills know? And you don't trust the Bills to know anything. He had 50 passing yards, Tyrod Taylor did on Sunday, because he's playing in the wrong system for Tyrod Taylor. They are trying to force him into a system that is not suited to his skill sets. And the Saints just made him pass from the pocket on Sunday, and just that. And he could do that. He's done that. He just didn't do it Sunday. And now he's benched, and Mina Kimes, ESPN, the magazine.
No, I'm with you on this. I think quarterbacks are going to stop taking her calls.
Rising star in the industry.
You don't know Mina like I know Mina. Please stop it.
Let me
right
ask you
now.
this. If you're a quarterback and you get a call from Mina Kimes, are you picking up the phone right now?
Oh, no.
Domonique, are you picking
Mina's
up the phone?
not superstitious.
Absolutely.
Mina's not superstitious.
I will pick it up because I know Mina is an upstanding quality journalist that does a great job writing pieces.
All right, let's do this. Guillermo, put this on the poll. Are Ivy League educated people superstitious? Yes or no? What do you think is a generalization? Because I think that generally speaking, Ivy League educated people aren't going to believe very much in the abstracts, in the idea that bad luck can exist, that if Mina Kimes is writing a story, that quarterback's going to get injured.
Again, you don't know Mina like I know Mina.
Wait, but
Mina's superstitious. I can guarantee you.
Well, it's not about her. It's about the quarterbacks. Like, athletes are superstitious, I believe. And so they might say, hey, the last time you did a piece on a quarterback, that quarterback got hurt. Then you did another one, and that quarterback got benched.
I did not accuse Mina Kimes of cursing quarterbacks. I asked a question. I simply asked the question.
I will not allow this loophole.
I simply asked the question, is she cursing quarterbacks? And I've stated facts. After 2 articles that she wrote, the quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers suffered the worst injury of his career, and Tyrod Taylor is now engulfed in national benching shame.
I wish you'd do a piece on the Jets quarterbacks.
Does she want to be a part of the show or not?
I will not allow you to squeeze your body through this loophole of I'm just asking
I'm
questions.
just asking. I don't know that they're. I need to see like 1 or 2 more.
A lot of people are saying.
A lot of people are saying. Hashtag just say it. Hashtag just saying. Put that on the poll, Guillermo. Hashtag just saying. Hashtag mean occurs.
Dan Le Batard.
Harden got selfish and decided he wanted to go to Houston and be the guy. And I told you when he went there, he's never going to win a championship. He was more concerned, James Harden, about being the best player on a decent team than he was on being the third best player on a legendary team.
Stugats.
Hey, James Harden. And the beard's enough already. Oh, who is he with a beard? Hey, he's trying to be different. I get it, James Harden. The beard. It's seriously the beard. When I think of James Harden, I won't think of anything other. I won't think of championships. I won't think of winning. I won't think of one of the all-time greats. I'll only think of his ridiculous beard. It's Harden. Him and his beard should be ashamed of themselves.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugats on ESPN Radio.
If you are not familiar with Domonique Foxworth, you could catch him all over ESPN. You could catch him on The Undefeated doing skits, doing writing. He is former head of the NFL Players Union, former COO of the NBA Players Union. He played cornerback for the Denver Broncos and Ravens and Falcons. Is that it? Do I have everybody?
Yep.
He was a prostitute. He was a street walking. No?
I didn't walk the streets. It was in a brothel. And B, I thought we said we wouldn't talk about this.
Okay. You would cover receivers for cash left on the nightstand. Anyway, here are some Tyrod Taylor stats.
By the way, Rogue Scout calls me and I'm a coach, and he says he's out in the field and he's watching this kid, Domonique Foxworth. I am there so quickly, man. Are you kidding me?
Who is it? Well, you guys, who was this? What were you guys doing with Lavello during the break? What were you guys doing with, was it Torey Lavello? Is that the name?
Yeah, he's the manager of the year for the Diamondbacks.
Okay, so you guys made him Leroy Lavello and made him a running back that you were willing to scout. Leroy Lavello.
But Torey Lavello is a slot receiver that we'd definitely give a scally to Torey Lavello.
Okay.
Right.
So here are some Tyrod Taylor stats. Incidentally, I don't know. Let's do stat of the day. All right.
Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. It is the start of the
Mike Ryan said that the streaker, you saw the happy streaker that looked like Charlie Whitehurst on the field, the Saints-Bills this week, and the streaker had more rushing yards than the Buffalo Bills did on Sunday. And here's some bonus Tyrod Taylor stats sent by Cortez, our researcher. The list of quarterbacks this season, you ready?
Yep.
With 10-plus touchdowns and 3 or fewer interceptions. Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers, Alex Smith, Tyrod Taylor. That's the list. The lowest Pro Football Focus game grade Tyrod Taylor has had in a game this season is 55.86. Quarterbacks had a lower game grade this past week than Tyrod Taylor has had all season. And then since 2005, Tyrod Taylor is one of 3 quarterbacks with 45-plus passing TDs and 10-plus rushing TDs. Cam and Cousins are the other 2, and then Tyrod Taylor has an interception percentage of 1.54 for his career. It is the lowest in NFL history among quarterbacks with 1,000-plus attempts. The lowest in history. He does not turn the ball over, but they had 50 passing yards on Sunday. They couldn't run the ball. They couldn't do anything offensively. They got smoked by New Orleans.
He's going to make another team so happy.
Discarded lover, second chance rebound lover. Like Tyrod Taylor is going to make, his next relationship is going to be the one where he finds love.
Yep. Stat of the day is brought to you by KFC. For a holiday present to yourself, get yourself a $5 fill-up from KFC. You'll know what's in the box, but you'll still be overjoyed. KFC, it's finger-licking good.
The Bills do not love Tyrod Taylor. They're in an abusive relationship with Tyrod Taylor, and they think they can fix it by bringing home, after one of the disagreements, a Kelvin Benjamin.
Mm-hmm.
That don't work.
Nope.
Like, you got to be more loyal over the years. You can't just one night bring home a special Kelvin Benjamin.
I mean, especially after you sent away Sammy Watkins.
Yes.
You can't replace a Sammy Watkins with a Kelvin Benjamin.
They sent someone else away as well.
Did you see the weekend that the
Gilmore.
former Bills receivers had? Marcus Goodwin, Robert Woods, Sammy Watkins, all of which scored touchdowns, I believe.
There's not a Gilmore in there? Do I owe a fine?
Stephen Gilmore is a cornerback that was traded to the Patriots. I was trying to protect you.
But he's a Bill, though, right?
He's a former Bill.
Okay, well, then I'm okay there. I'm all right there.
You
Wait, but you got the position wrong.
No. It all matters. Tyrod was fighting an uphill battle because that defense was terrible against the Saints also, so it matters.
There are a lot of teams in the league doing things with former Bills that the Bills didn't do with the Bills. That is the Bills. The Bills have skated only because the Browns exist on managerial incompetence. The Browns have made the playoffs more recently than the Bills have. Butch Davis. Do you know how long ago that was? Made the playoffs with the Browns. That was 150 years ago. And the Bills, when's the last time they made the playoffs? Is Jim Kelly the last time the Bills?
No. Rob Johnson.
Oh, that one.
Yeah,
the Wade Phillips. I'm gonna bench Doug Flutie for Rob Johnson. Play Rob Johnson in a playoff game. Get my head caved in and end both my career and Rod Johnson.
Well, they didn't get their head caved in. They got their hearts stomped out by the Music City Miracle. That was the last playoff game they were in.
Ouch. I actually don't think the Bills have been totally incompetent in the front office. Like, you can see that they've had talented players. Like,
they
we just
trade
talked
them
about,
away.
Yeah, we just talked about how good their players have been elsewhere, and we had good guys on defense. Just haven't been able to put it together with their coaching staff.
Do you question Tyrod at all that Robert, like Jared Goff, the sign that he's really good is Robert Woods is suddenly very good, and he wasn't that good with Tyrod Taylor.
I don't know what the Bills know here that we don't about Nathan Peterman. I do know that the skill set that Tyrod Taylor has would be maximized by Andy Reid and has not been maximized by the Bills, because I do believe if Tyrod Taylor played for the Kansas City Chiefs, they would look exactly like they look now, because he is Alex Smith.
They'd be better. He throws a better deep ball than Alex Smith. I mean, that's an important thing, and the intermediate routes are not something they do consistently. And, I mean, you know how I feel about Andy Reid. I wish more coaches were like him. He's the innovator who creates stuff for the players that he has, not the players that he wishes he has.
Don Le Batard.
They've been around since 1896.
Oh, get out your wallet.
That's why I was getting the money ready.
Stugats.
I don't think Stugat should be fined for that.
Great, money back in the pocket.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugats on ESPN Radio.
Mike Ryan has reached out to Mina Kimes for comment. He has comment. We'll get to that in a second.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. The Dan Le Batard Show is brought to you by Pennzoil Synthetics, taking synthetic motor oil performance to a whole new level. Make the switch to Pennzoil Synthetics today. Guest on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance line. Here's your SportsCenter update. College football playoff rankings released last night. Number 1, Alabama. Number 2, Clemson. They should be number 4. Number 3, Miami. And number 4, Oklahoma. On the outside looking in at number 5 and number 6, respectively, is Wisconsin and Auburn. Torey Lovello.
Kirby Holcutt is a rat fink.
Yep, that too. Torey Lovello. He's the manager of the Diamondbacks. I just found that out this morning. He won the National League Manager of the Year award. And Paul Molitor won it in the American League. And finally, People Magazine has announced that Blake Shelton is 2017's sexiest man alive. That's an upset. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to the SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
Donald Trump has tweeted, do you think the UCLA players will say thank you to President Trump? I kept them from 10 years in jail, and he's totally right. And I don't care what anybody says. Like, he stepped in there, and he absolutely helped them, and it was an upset. Like, the whole thing was an upset.
Right.
I mean, he helped shoplifting basketball players. I did not have that one in the office pool.
If the players thank the president, though, would you consider that to be an upset?
No, they need to thank the president, but now we're in a difficult situation where LeVar Ball might not be willing to thank the president, but I'm here for whatever emerges from this.
Yeah, I mean, who cares about all these other machinations? The only thing that matters is the collision course that is obvious now between LeVar Ball
but I
and
do
President
think Trump, man, those guys were going to be in some. You cannot shoplift in that country. Like, I feel like China is within this realm of not very far away from the places where they'll just cut off your hands if you steal. I'm not even kidding. Like, there's still countries that handle things that way. And I feel like China is in that realm if they are not quite there, and Donald Trump helped them.
That would be a career ender.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. It would be hard to play basketball without hands.
Correct.
You'd forever be reminded that it was a career ender, too. Every day you'd wake up and you'd look at your nubs and you'd be like, yep, this ended my carear, stealing those sunglasses.
If anyone could do it, c'est Angelo. Still the best.
Undefeated, never lost.
One-handed.
You know what I'm going to make my player? I'm going to make my son the best no-handed basketball player in the history of China.
No hands now.
The first slam dunk with a nub.
What you got, Marbury?
Voluntarily cut off the other hand.
I sell gloves. Big baller brand. No hand nub gloves. Undefeated, never lost.
You got like a weird, I think Mike's his impersonation
yours
pretty good. Yours just morphed into something really, really strange.
No, I thought mine was good. What happened? Let's
It
examine
started
this.
off good, but it morphed into something bad.
I didn't want to do it, but I heard it the first time you did it. I was like, oh, I don't.
What happened?
Oh.
What happened? No! Oh, no! I'm foiled by my own design! No! I was a white guy doing a black voice?
Yeah.
No! Why was Mike doing it better than me? I don't understand the nuances of this.
I don't either, but Mike sounded like LeVar Balls, and yours sounded like generic Mr. T.
Yeah.
This is
Generic Mr. T is perfect.
Did Dan's LeVar... Dan, I'll put it on the poll. Did Dan's LeVar Ball impersonation instead become a racist, generic Mr. T impersonation?
I'm going to get those hands, fool.
Is that what it was? Wow, everyone's in agreement that I made it something else. Okay.
You appear to be sweating bullets now, too.
Oh, but it's only because I'm delighted. I assure you that I am nothing other than delighted with this entire conversation.
I think my first appearance on the show was me calling you out for some of the punishments that you had Roy doing, and so I am conscious of that. So when I heard that voice, I was like, nah, I can't call Dan out on that one.
I'll tell you what I feel like. I feel like Kerry Collins emerging from the jail with a cigar after using the N-word with teammates who thought he was too comfortable and never forgave him for it. I'm going to walk out of the studio right now smoking a cigar. All right, if that's how it ends. I thought I was in a safe space with undefeated, never lost.
No.
I think what you needed to do is to then follow that with a compliment about Russell Wilson. Because that's how you cover your tracks. Is when you say something like that, you then say, but Russell Wilson is a great pocket passer.
Stay in your lane.
Is his better?
Oh, so much better.
Why is his better? I don't understand. I'm looking in a mirror.
Well done, Mike. Well done.
How
So
is that
good.
well done.
I mean, spot on.
Sir. All right, you try now, Dan.
I'm afraid to. I don't know where the lines are anymore. I can't do it because I've lost all confidence. That was me at my most confident. And I took liberties I should not have taken. But that's why you're here for the LeVar Ball Donald Trump fight, because all sorts of that is going to happen on the periphery of that skirmish.
Is there anything more perfect for 2017 if we can end, for the entire month of December, just LeVar Ball versus Donald Trump? It's just going to be gold.
But can you separate these things? Because I feel like I can. I can separate whether I like someone or don't like someone, or whether I think they're doing a good job or not doing a good job, from if they did a good job in that instance. Wherever it is, like Terrell Owens. If you don't like all the things Terrell Owens is, I don't separate his behavior from his excellence. I do separate his behavior from his excellence, I should say. His excellence should stand alone.
Well, can you separate all the things you disagree with, all the bad things that you think he's done?
Yes.
And notice the good thing that he did here?
He did. I don't know how there's any disputing that him getting those kids out of trouble, that he helped lubricate that path. Those kids were looking at something really bad in China if he doesn't get involved.
No, they were. I think what people are going to say is you're asking for applause here for doing your job. You're asking the kids to thank you for doing what is your job.
He is. I don't see how you can look at this. He's taking credit for it, and he should. That's his way. His way.
Right.
He can't do this quietly and just allow the credit to pour in. He's also right, though.
I mean, he gave him a few hours.
Well, but this is something else that he's also right about. Him getting involved in that was undercovered. It was undercovered because we didn't talk about it. And him getting involved from the beginning is, come on. That one's got to be surprising to you. Why was he involved in that? Like you say, doing his job. I don't feel like he's ever felt like that's doing his job. Do you? Because I don't feel like that's the president's job to get those players out of that trouble when they've done a wrong.
It worked out because he was there, too. He was touring Asia at the time. I don't know if it was the right time, right place for him, or if he would have picked up a phone.
But a president, there are diplomats well below him that handle things like that.
I mean, I could separate it. I don't agree with just about anything he says or does, but I do give him credit for doing this. I'm not certain, I'm in the majority on that.
I don't think it has to be begrudging credit. I think it could just be credit. He did a good thing for American citizens who were in the wrong.
Yep.
Do you remember, was it...
I'm not even sure they deserved it, to be honest with you. Excuse me, Dominique.
No, you're fine.
I'm not sure, given what they did, that they deserved intervention from the President of the United States.
I was just thinking about past precedent, and I think it was Michael Fay, the American in Singapore, who got in trouble for vandalism and theft and was under threat of caning. I don't remember, I could be wrong, but I don't remember the president getting involved at that point. But
I don't really understand what advice he was getting, but he can throw this one out and he can wave it around next time people say, hey, your anthem stuff is it's racism. Your anthem stuff is cloaked. It's the flag cloaking racism. He could say, what are you talking about? I helped those black kids in China who were shoplifting. They were in the wrong, and I helped them.
Right. So, but then people would say, okay, so he had an agenda there. There's a reason that he did it. But most presidents, most politicians have some sort of agenda.
Okay, but what is the agenda here, though? Because this is not his...
He can throw that around, yes.
But LeVar Ball is not his constituency. Like, what's the agenda other than doing a good thing? And being able to take credit for it. Maybe you knew he was going to take credit for it, whether he deserved the credit or not. You knew he was going to take the credit for it, whether you were willing to give it or not. But he's right on this one.
Don't forget, you can hear more of my sons Dan and Stu weekdays starting at 10 Eastern on ESPN Radio and ESPNU.
Hi, everyone. Stu Gatz here. Support for the Dan Le Batard Show podcast comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Chances are you are confident when it comes to your work, your hobbies, and your life. Rocket Mortgage gives you the same level of confidence when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. Rocket Mortgage is simple, allowing you to fully understand all the details and be confident you are getting the right mortgage for you. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Stugotz. That's rocketmortgage.com/Stugotz, STUGOTZ. Equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states. NMLS ConsumerAccess.org number 3030.
Dan Le Batard.
Our thanks to Domonique Foxworth for sitting in with us. He has sucked at the reads today, but he don't think so. And even if he does think so, he doesn't think he's going to suck at the next one.
Stugotz.
Fox and Socks. Socks box knocks. Knocks and box, Fox and Socks. Knocks on Fox and Socks and box. Socks on Knox and Knox in box. Fox gone socks on box on Knox. Take that, Dr. Seuss.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugotz on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance, comparing rates to help you save. Now that's Progressive. Call or click today and find out how much Progressive could save you. Joe Scarborough going to join us in just a second here on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Great hair. Can't wait to ask him about that hair. Here's your SportsCenter update. The U.S. Soccer Federation is looking into the possibility of hosting pre-World Cup international matches involving the United States, Italy, the Netherlands, Ghana, and Chile. That tournament sounds better than the actual World Cup.
It's all the teams that didn't make the World Cup. It's very Sugazzi of them. We'll just make our own World Cup.
It's a smart move. Yeah. More attractive teams. Conor McGregor issued a public apology via social media on Tuesday for his questionable actions during a Bellator MMA event this past weekend in Dublin.
Questionable actions? He was fighting,
well, questionable.
He was fighting with a referee.
I guess they're no longer questionable if he apologized.
Yeah,
right?
Okay.
And finally, Dr. Seuss invented the word nerd. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to SportsCenter on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
Mike Ryan, Mina Kimes has written 2 quarterback stories on Tyrod Taylor, Aaron Rodgers. They've both been hurt. We've been asking the question whether Mina Kimes, ESPN the magazine writer, is cursing quarterbacks. You have reached out to Mina Kimes. What is her comment?
F.
Okay, very good. All right, bleep. Joe Scarborough, Morning Joe, airs 6 a.m. weekdays on MSNBC. You could stream his new holiday album, A Very Drump Christmas, this Friday. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate it, Joe. You are a graduate of Alabama, but you also went to the University of Florida Law School. So who do you root for? Do you root for Alabama or Florida?
No. It's not even close. Florida fans, just maybe some of the most obnoxious fans I've ever come across. I'm a huge Alabama fan, and I've always cheered for them, even when it was hard to do in the 90s because Spurrier in Florida would kick us around the field year in and year out, and I got a heaping of abuse from it. But
so what is your least favorite fan base among all the ones? Is it University of Florida, or do you have one that you hate more than that?
Oh my God! Well, I'm an Alabama fan, so it's well, I'm not going to make friends, but my least favorite fan base comes from the city I live in. It's Yankees fans. I've been a Red Sox fan since '75, so. I won't even step into Yankee Stadium. People think I'm crazy, but I won't. I'm also a huge soccer fan. I suppose if I lived in England, it would be Man U fans, but because I'm a Liverpool fan. But anyway, but the soccer, U.S. Soccer Federation, it's a great idea. Getting the Netherlands and Chile and Italy and the U.S. together, I would pay to watch those matches, but they really should focus on actually figuring out how to get a striker with a country with 320 million people.
You're right about that.
And get us into the World Cup. I mean, it's sick. I mean, it's absolutely sick that we have 320 million people in this country and we can't even qualify for the World Cup. I understand losing to Mexico, maybe 50%.
You want to go into the sports thing? I think you got a career in this sports gas bag thing.
No, I absolutely love sports, but you guys were talking about that, and actually some of my favorite teams to watch in the World Cup are not going to be there. Mm-hmm. And Chile was extraordinary back in 2014 to watch, and I've always loved the Dutch, and
I've always loved the Dutch.
Italy.
Is that what just happened?
Yeah,
Wait a minute,
Dutch.
what just happened there? I've always loved the Dutch.
I've always loved the Dutch, baby. It's called Brilliant Orange. Come on, don't try to make it dirty. Don't try to make it dirty. It's Brilliant Orange.
I love it.
Who tried to make it dirty?
They originated, beautiful football. So a total football. So that would be pretty crazy. And I hate the way Italy plays football. So that would be a great tournament.
But you pay to see him play.
You're just taking everyone out.
Yes,
right
I love
and left. Joe Scarborough with us. Airs 6 a.m. Wednesday. Morning Joe does on MSNBC.
Well, I want to explore what you said earlier for just a second, Joe. Can you explain to us exactly how you feel, what you feel for Yankees and their fan base, for the Yankees and their fan base?
I think I've already explained it once. I'm going to get. I live in the New York area. I'm just not. I've hated the Yankees since '75, so it's kind of hard to going into the mausoleum that they call Yankee Stadium now. At least when it was the old Yankee Stadium, I could take my kids there and say, "Hey, this is where Babe Ruth did this, or where Mickey Mantle did that." But now it's a mausoleum. The seats are like, cost you $8,000 to sit in a padded seat, and they're usually empty 99% of the time. I mean, come on. Are you guys Yankees fans?
No. I'm a Mets fan. I wanted to hear more.
We just wanted to get you fired up. We wanted to get you riled up. That's all.
I seriously have friends that come into town. I got one friend that's a huge Indians fan, and he said, hey, let's go see the Indians-Yankees. I said, I will get you tickets, but I do not go to Yankee Stadium. I will not walk into Yankee Stadium anymore. So, but I will say this. In Barnacle, Mike Barnacle got in a lot of trouble for saying it. If there were ever a Yankees team that somebody outside of New York could root for, other than the 2001 Yankees team after 9/11, this is a pretty damn exciting team to watch. And they seem to be good guys. Aaron Judge seems to be a pretty good guy, and let's hope he stays that way.
Who's the athlete that I can mention right now to Joe Scarborough? Morning Joe airs weekdays, 6 a.m., MSNBC. You can also stream his new holiday album, A Very Drump Christmas, this Friday. But if I were to say one athlete name to you, what's the best athlete name I could give you right now that would make Joe Scarborough, spit at his phone and just be like, oh, I hate that guy?
Ronaldo. I despise him.
Why? Why Ronaldo? What's the matter? Because he's beautiful?
Why Ronaldo? He's like the most selfish player in the history of sports. The guy basically turns his head away from his teammates when they score. He's an extraordinary player, but I think main reason I hate the guy is because when he was at Man U, he'd always beat Liverpool in extra time.
I mean, it's just jealousy. I won't stand for
that's what Ronaldo says. You guys hate me because I'm handsome, I'm popular, and I'm better than everybody.
I mean, I don't understand how you can lash out at a guy for being self-centered when you have a TV show named after you.
Whoa!
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 Well,
whoa!
You know what? My last TV show was called Scarborough Country. So
Bam!
I got a real problem.
Yeah, I think
you are Ronaldo, my friend.
I think you see Cristiano. You see a little Cristiano in yourself.
You look in the mirror, and that's hair that's better than yours too. Maybe. What?
I'm looking at the man in the mirror. I don't like what I'm seeing. It's just like my mom said when people hated me growing up. They're just jealous, Joe. I think maybe I'm just jealous of Ronaldo and how, I think it's the hair. It all comes down to the hair. I'm very insecure.
What goes into your hair? Like how much product?
Nothing, man. That's the thing. Nothing. I'm telling you, whatever people have, I'll occasionally put something in there, but I promise you, absolutely nothing. It's like a Brillo pad. I can take it wherever I want. It'll move in any direction I want to move it.
That's amazing. What an amazing gift. Can you tell us the place that you found yourself with public fame where you've been most uncomfortable, like where being you has been publicly unpleasant?
Let's see. In bathrooms, I find it unsettling to be at sporting events and being at Fenway and being over a urinal.
Yeah, that's not really what I meant, but I understand why you would end up there. Yeah.
I mean, people ask me questions about Donald Trump while I'm trying to get out and get back to the game. That's sort of uncomfortable. Occasionally on airplanes when people start yelling, "Hey, I know who you are, and start asking me questions about Donald Trump. It's so you usually in confined spaces. The rest of the time, listen, if somebody watches my show and wants to come up and talk to me and tell me they like watching the show, that's
yes or
as
no.
you guys know, that's like a great honor. And I've got a lot of people say, "Well, hey, why do you sit there and let them talk to you for so long?" I'm like, man, it's a great honor, and it's a very small price for what I get to do every day.
I hate it. Morning Joe airs 6 a.m. weekdays on MSNBC. You can stream his new holiday album, A Very Drunk Christmas.
Here he is thinking Dan can relate.
No. Well, but this is what I wanted to ask you. When has it ever happened? Has it ever happened to Joe Scarborough that you were seated in a public place doing your bathroom business and somebody wants to talk to you? They saw you go into the stall.
Well, dude, not seated, but at a urinal, yeah, that happened.
Okay, but I just didn't know whether it's ever happened to you where someone saw your beautiful hair go into a stall and they decided they wanted to talk to you outside.
Yeah.
Where you messed up was you said seated.
Well, no.
He's a hover guy.
Now, I will tell you they have hovered though, and people do hover often.
Who doesn't?
And
right.
we'll wait for me to get out, and then we'll say, "So, what do you think about Trump?" So it just sort of happens wherever me and I go.
Right.
You know?
Do you get any questions other than questions about Trump?
It sounds like you only get questions.
No, not these days. Not these days. It's all people ever want to talk about. I'll be like, I'll get, some of these people come up with videos and, try to get about they're for Trump or they're against Trump. And I always do the same thing. I keep walking and I talk about the Red Sox and talk about, their rotation and, who they need to get. And I just don't engage. But, again, most of the people are very nice, very cool about it.
You have mentioned the Stones and the Beatles as some of your favorite artists. Are there contemporary artists that you are fans of? And also, what are a couple bars of lyrics in your songs that you're most proud of?
Oh, boy, those are some tough questions. Like contemporary, well, I'm an old guy, so I grew up on the Stones, the Beatles, Elvis Costello, the Clash, groups like that. As far as more recent stuff goes, I don't know. Vampire Weekend, who sort of went away about 3 or 4 years ago. I've got a 14-year-old daughter, so I have to listen to Taylor Swift all the time. That's pretty good stuff. But I'm more of a classic rock guy, more of an indie rock guy.
Can we get some lyrics from Very Drumpf Christmas that you're proud of?
Let's see. With Santa and his reindeer, they were deported to Nepal. Now, little Jack and Katie won't have Christmas time at all. Who could have been so dastardly to make Christmas go kerplump? That orange beast that children call the Drump.
Very good. All right, Morning Joe airs 6 a.m. weekdays on MSNBC. You can stream his new holiday album, A Very Drumpf Christmas, this Friday. Thank you, Joe, for being on with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much. Go Sox.
I'm streaming.
If I was the man I was 5 years ago, I would take a flamethrower to this place.
Tonight, when you get home after another stressful day, I felt like Domonique was too aggressive with Joe Scarborough. Too aggressive.
He was great. I thought he was great. I thought Domonique was great. I thought Joe was great.
I've watched the show for many years, and I've been a guest on the show once before, so I felt like I had a relationship with him, even though he probably has no idea.
An assumed rapport that was non-existent from my vantage point.
And also, I don't care what he's going to do. Beat me up?
Don Le Batard.
What I'm telling you, this is what I'm telling you. You send 4 or 5 or 6 88-year-olds my way, and each one of those fights is going to look like Don Zimmer and Pedro Martinez. Each one of them. Send them one after another. It'll be like a kung fu movie.
Stugats.
Send them one after another, and I'm telling you, I'm dusting a dozen 88-year-olds, one after the other. They're like zombies. They can come all at once, one after another, with my hands.
What if Hayden Fry is one of them?
All of them. 88 years old, unless Jeff Conine's father is there.
This is the Don Le Batard Show with the Stugats on ESPN Radio.
Get in touch with the show anytime through the 1-800-Flowers Twitter feed at Le Batard Show, at Stugat790, at Foxworth24. Guys, it is time for Straight Talk. It is brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Best phones, best networks, no contracts.
So Joe Scarborough has been writing songs for a long time. He's got 400 of them, and most of them have never been heard by anyone because he's been paralyzed by fear of judgment ever performing them. Quote, I know this doesn't sound very rock star, but I turned 50 and I said I'm going to die and my kids are never going to see this side of me. What just happened, Guillermo? Why are you guys laughing uproariously at that?
Allison just said under her breath, way to read the fact sheet after the interview.
Yeah. Man, Allison's in a bad place today. In a bad place.
Yep.
She's lashing out at everybody. I don't know what's happening over here.
She's cursing. It was highlighted.
Seems like every day she finds this bad place, though.
But I read the entire damn show sheet, and we just didn't get to it because we got sidetracked by talking sports and then Domonique being very aggressive with Joe Scarborough.
Blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
He was, and Domonique, yeah, you were aggressive.
I don't care. I ain't scared of Joe Scarborough.
Why should you be?
I want to ask you guys this question. The reported details on Roger Goodell. Domonique Foxworth endorses the idea of Roger Goodell making $49.5 million a year with a private jet for life and health insurance for his entire family. He is one of the few I've heard say that sounds reasonable. I think that I'm going to be able to give you some details from Sally Jenkins that might change your mind, but go ahead and give why you think that Goodell should be paid.
Oh, man, you're setting me up. Well, I mean, first of all, I think that for the job that they wanted him to do, it's hard to argue that he has not accomplished those goals that was set out, I guess, 11 years ago when he took the job. He's made them all, and obviously you're not going to give all the credit to him, but he's captained this ship that's made them all billions and billions of dollars, and they've all been able to avoid public ridicule. He's been willing to take all that, and he's made mistakes along the way, but many of the mistakes that have been made were not by his own design or choices that he's made. They were things that were thrust upon him by the owners, and he's figured his way through it as best as he could. So, I mean, pay him his money. Like, he's doing a job, he's doing it well. If you can compare it to players, like, obviously players deserve to get paid more also, but that doesn't mean not paying him is any more right than it should be. Like, he's doing the job, so pay up.
All right, so here's Sally Jenkins on what CEOs make, because that's the argument. The argument is, do you pay him like a CEO, even though the owners I don't think they think of him as their boss in any meaningful way. The height of this fight with Jerry Jones and Roger Goodell is because Jerry Jones feels like there's anarchy coming his way,
Right.
uprising. Like, you work for me, dude. You, Goodell, you work for me.
Oh, the owners don't view Roger Goodell as their boss. Are you kidding me? They view him as their shield. But
Okay.
to Dominique's point, he's done a good job of that, I think.
Okay, but this is Sally Jenkins. I'm reading now. Why should he be paid twice as much as the chairman of Goldman Sachs? And she writes, for what? What exactly does this NFL commissioner do other than wrinkle the vast expanse of his forehead over the public relations disasters he creates, provoke fan rage, and refuse to fly commercial? If Jerry Jones's goal is to restore some fiscal sanity to his fellow owners, then well done. Someone has to try. Goodell, according to ESPN, has made a bid to raise his salary to $49.5 million, which would pay him more than the CEOs of IBM, Time Warner, Hewlett-Packard, Disney, Nike, Oracle, Yahoo, and J.P. Morgan Chase, among others. This is indecent. It is crazy, and it is irresponsible. Small wonder Jones threatened to sue the competition committee and wants more transparency on Goodell's contract. While the owners fight among themselves, the rest of us can only sit around slack-jawed with wonder at their total loss of good sense and perspective. Goodell already makes $30 million, more than Steve Wynn and the CEOs of AT&T, Microsoft, Exxon, Chevron, Johnson & Johnson, Dow Chemical. Executive compensation is emotionally charged subject. CEOs at the largest U.S. firms now make 271 times more than the average worker, according to the Economic Policy Institute, and 74% of Americans believe they are overpaid, a conviction that cuts across party affiliation. But at least the CEOs referenced above can be said to have created some value for their companies or shareholders. Bob Iger acquired Pixar, Marvel, Lucasfilm for Disney, so the stomach doesn't rebel quite as much at his $44 million package. In addition to a raise, Goodell reportedly has asked for a private jet in perpetuity and lifetime health insurance for himself and his entire family. This in a league in which NFL players have health benefits for just 5 years, yet face lifetime neurological damage. Goodell makes twice what Tom Brady makes. He makes 15 times more than the average NFL player. He makes more by millions than the CEOs of Ford, Prudential, General Electric, Morgan Stanley, and Goodyear. Again, for what? He's never had to take a hit and never had an idea, she writes.
Because he can get it.
Yeah, so I mean,
but now he can't.
That is,
well, no, he can. He's going to get it.
Well, but over Jerry Jones's plastic surgery face.
Sally Jenkins' case is unimpeachable. It's great. I'm not sure that I'm arguing that he deserves $50 million, but I'm arguing that he deserves the extension. How much they pay him, I can't determine. The one thing that I would say is she can't necessarily, or no one can say that he has not created value or he does not do things of value because it's not a publicly traded company. It's obviously quite opaque. So I'm not sure the things that he's doing. I have an idea of some of the things that he's had to do to maintain this job, but the things that he's doing are not public, and it's obviously been pretty good. Like these owners aren't rubes when it comes to business. Like they wouldn't have paid
know what
him
they're doing.
Yeah, like,
yes.
They wouldn't have paid as much as they have
Okay.
if they don't think that he's providing some value.
Dan, and he's made them money.
Here you go, though.
I mean,
here's the
whether you think it's him or not, under his watch, they've made a lot of money.
Here's the killer paragraph from Sally Jenkins. Goodell's contract is profoundly out of line with even previous commissioners who did far more for their money. Pete Rozelle was a superb promoter, but owners never let the financial relationship with him get this far out of whack. Rozelle presided over massive growth and the advents of the Super Bowl and Monday Night Football, for which at his peak in 1974, the owners rewarded him with a handsome $200,000 a year, the equivalent of $1 million in today's money. He never made more than the game's greatest stars, the Joe Namaths and the O.J. Simpsons. Even Paul Tagliabue, under whom revenue grew to $6 billion in 2007, was paid just $10 million.
So one, I'll start with saying I'm wrong. Sally's right. I don't know that he deserves as much as he's getting. I'm arguing that he deserves an extension. And two, I think it'd be fairer to say as a percentage of revenue, not necessarily the raw number. So I'm not sure what that breaks down to. It's something that I can look into during the next break. But I just think that they should not be holding up his payment. How much they pay him, I don't know what that right answer is.
Dan Batard.
How has ESPN allowed this?
Stugats.
They're talking sports, going at it as hard as they can.
This is the Dan Le Batard Show with the Stugats on ESPN Radio.
ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guest on the Dan Le Batard Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Here's your SportsCenter update. The U.S. Soccer Federation is looking into the possibility of hosting pre-World Cup international matches involving the United States, Italy, the Netherlands, Ghana, and Chile. Conor McGregor issued a public apology via social media on Tuesday for his questionable actions during a Bellator MMA event this past weekend in Dublin. And finally, if you are nominated for an Oscar and lose, you get a $50,000 consolation prize. I'd rather lose.
I think you win and get other things that are worth more than $50,000.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah, you get to market movies as Academy Award-winning actor. It brings up your salary.
It's got more than $50,000.
You're nominated, you lose, you still get all the movies because you were nominated. You have to be a good actor to be nominated, and you still get the $50,000. I mean, and who has won more $50,000 checks than Meryl Streep?
Overrated.
Yep. This Sports Center is brought to you by JCPenney. Guys, the holiday challenge is here. Get everything on your list for less than you think. Refresh your holiday wardrobe with 60% off men's sport coats, top coats, and dress pants starting at $23.99. Hurry in. JCPenney. For all the latest headlines and information, tune in to the Sports Center on ESPN Radio all throughout the day.
How are you supposed to argue with that? How are you supposed to argue when someone says, I'd rather